This is the LEGO ATTE set. It has some cool looking legs, but it can't walk. So I turned it into a new walker that actually can. Now this is probably the hardest I've ever worked on an alternate build, so I would really appreciate it if you guys could hit that like button. Also, I did make a drop ship that's gonna carry this walker, so if this video gets to 1,000 likes in the first 48 hours, I'm gonna post a sneak peek of my drop ship over on my Instagram. I'm calling it the WTAW, Walker That Actually Walks. At the front, there's an armored cab with 2 blasters underneath that can move up and down. You can open the top and the sides of the cab. There's a driver's seat with controls and another seat as well. Behind that front section, you'll find more seats for minifigures. 4 of them can sit facing inward, while these 2 can sit facing outward and defend the sides with their blasters. Moving along, there's another 4 seats here as well. Now, the final part of this main section is the flip-up carrying handle. If it's down, it's out of the way, but when it's up, you have more room for a few extra minifigures, and I don't think it really looks that bad if you just leave it up. Obviously, this is where you're meant to grab the walker, and it's also the place where the dropship is going to connect in order to carry it. Running along each side is some more armor plating. These angles were kind of hard to achieve, but I'm happy with how they turned out, especially at the back where I used these tall corner pieces turned on their side. Speaking of the back of the walker, there are 2 more seats located there. These minifigures can aim their blasters, and if you want, you could pretend they're controlling these ball turrets as well. So in total, this thing can carry 14 to 16 minifigures, depending on if you want the carrying handle folded up or down. Now, all those minifigures need some way to get off the walker, so I did include this ramp which easily unfolds when you're ready to go. Okay, so with those details out of the way, it's time to finally show you the main feature of this build. Like most vehicles, you'll need a key if you want to drive. It's a Technic axle reinforced with some plates, and it has a gear on the end so you can grip it easier. Simply put it in and connect it right here. Then to make it walk, spin the gear backwards. That will spin the red axle, which is connected all the way through to the other side. On that end is another gear which is connected to the middle of this long Technic brick. When the middle gear turns, the Technic brick drives these other 2 gears on either end. Finally, those gears turn 2 more gears that rotate the legs, which are offset on these gray Technic connectors. The legs are all opposite of each other, which is what allows it to walk, just like this. While I am super proud of this, I should mention this walking system is not perfect. There's a lot of weight for the legs to lift up, which ends up slamming right back down. The gears must be aligned perfectly, otherwise the legs will get out of sync and it won't walk correctly or at all. Finally, because of the bouncing and shakiness, parts can come loose when the leg slams back down. With that being said, the problems I just mentioned mainly happen when you're driving with just one hand that's turning the gear. My solution is to simply use your other hand to grab the carrying handle and very slightly lift it up to relieve some of the weight on the legs. Make sure the feet still touch the ground. That way it can still walk, but you can control the legs and keep them from slamming down and shaking the parts loose. Also, this allows you to make it walk a little faster. So remember, always drive with 2 hands. Now you might be thinking to yourself, this is completely unnecessary. Nobody asked for a walker with a walking function, and I did have that same thought as well, which is why I made a version of this that does not have the walking function. In my opinion, the legs look a little better here because they're actually centered and all in the same place on the walker. And the conversion is really not that hard to do once you finish building. And you can find all the info on how to do that conversion in the instructions. Speaking of building, I should mention this build can be kind of difficult and frustrating depending on your skill level. That being said, if you're up for a challenge, you can build this right now by clicking the Patreon link in the description for PDF instructions. Otherwise, I'll have the video version of the instructions posted here on YouTube on Sunday, November 20th. In the meantime, I'd love to know what you guys think about this build. Make sure you let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for liking, subbing, and especially watching. I hope you enjoyed this alternate build video, and I'll see you next time.